Number 1. My wife asked me to get a Vladimir Putin tattoo. When I got home, she asked me about it excitedly. I pulled down my trousers and showed her my willy, where the word gigawatt had been tattooed on my willy. "What the F?" she yelled. I said, "It's a prick with too much power." Number 2. Vladimir Putin consulted with a fortune teller. He asked, "How long will I live?" The psychic replied, "I cannot tell that, but I do know you will die on a Ukrainian holiday." "Which holiday?" Putin asked. "Whichever day you die will be a Ukrainian holiday." Number 3. Vladimir Putin goes to the Ukraine, and the customs officer in the entry interview asks him, "Occupation?" "Well, only if you insist," he replied. Number 4. The election of Vladimir Putin will commence in a few days. Citizens will be asked to choose between Putin and the firing squad. As of now, 80% of the population approve of him. The rest 20% are missing. Number 5. Obama, Queen Elizabeth, and Vladimir Putin all died, and as former world leaders were being given a tour of hell. While there, they saw a red phone and asked what the phone is for. The devil tells them it is for calling back to Earth. Putin asks to call Russia and talks for 5 minutes. When he is finished, the devil informs him that the cost is $1 million, so Putin writes him a check. Next, Queen Elizabeth calls England and talks for 30 minutes. When she is finished, the devil informs her that the cost is $6 million, so she writes him a check. Finally, Obama gets his turn and talks for 4 hours. When he is finished, the devil informs him that the cost is $5. When Putin hears this, he goes ballistic and asks the devil why Obama got to call USA so cheaply. The devil smiled and replied, "Since Biden took over, the country has gone to hell, so it's a local call." Number 6. In a recent interview, Vladimir Putin was accused of poisoning political opponents, including Alexei Navalny. "This is complete nonsense," replied Putin. "I have never considered anyone an opponent." Number 7. Putin is so stupid that he tried to put M&Ms in alphabetical order. Number 8. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin meet with guests at the White House. One of the guests asks, "Mr. President, what are you talking about with President Putin?" "We are planning World War III." "And what does it look like?" Trump, "We will kill 4 million Muslims and a dentist." The guest looks a bit confused. "Why a dentist?" Putin claps Trump on the back and says, "What did I tell you, Donald? No one will ask about the Muslims." Number 9. Vladimir Putin shows up in one of the Moscow's primary schools. After the welcoming ceremony, there is some time for the students to ask the president a few questions. Little Sasha stands up and says, "I only have 2 questions. Number 1. Why did Russia take over the Crimea? Number 2. What are Russian soldiers doing in Ukraine?" Before Putin was able to say anything, the bell suddenly rang, and all the students went for a break. After the break, when everyone was back, a different student stood up and said, "Dear Mr. President, I have only 4 questions. Number 1. Why did Russia take over the Crimea? Number 2. What are Russian soldiers doing in Ukraine? Number 3. Why did the bell ring 20 minutes early? Number 4. Where is Sasha?" Number 10. Angela Merkel, Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump are on a plane. Merkel finds $100 on the floor of the aircraft and says, "I will throw the money out of the aircraft and make one person happy." Putin interrupts her, stating that if they split the $100 bill into $250 bills, they can make 2 people happy. Trump insists that they should throw 4 $25 bills and make 4 people happy. The pilot of the plane, overhearing their conversation, turns to his co-pilot and tells him, "Should I throw this plane in the sea and make 7 billion people happy?" Number 11. My favorite thing about Vladimir Putin is that he has managed to take Russia's military from being the second most powerful in the world, all the way to being the second most powerful in Ukraine. Number 12. Vladimir Putin has boasted that Russia is planning to build a base on the moon. The idea is that astronauts will live there permanently. When they were asked if they really wanted to spend the rest of their lives in a barren, lifeless, empty landscape, the Russians said, "No, that's why we want to go to the moon." Number 13. Vladimir Putin and his driver were on their way to Kyiv in a car when all of a sudden they hit a pig near a farmhouse, killing it instantly. Putin told his driver to go up to the farmhouse and explain to the owners what had happened. About 1 hour later, Putin sees his driver staggering back to the car with a bottle of horilka in one hand, a cigar in the other, and his clothes all disheveled. "What happened to you?" asked Putin. "Well, the farmer gave me the horilka. His wife gave me a box of cigars, and their 19-year-old and 21-year-old daughters made mad passionate love to me simultaneously." "My God, what did you tell them?" asks Putin. The driver replies, "I'm President Putin's driver, and I just killed the pig." Number 14. What is the difference between a starfish and Vladimir Putin? One is brainless, spineless, and impossible to reason with. The other one is a starfish. Number 15. Never accept tea offered by the Russian president. You don't know what Vladimir put in. Number 16. What is Vladimir Putin's tiny wife's name? Lily Putin. Number 17. Putin goes undercover as a drill sergeant. Talking to a new recruit, he asks, "Where are you from, private?" "Sir, St. Petersburg." "Oh, I'm from there too." "Who's your father?" "Sir, my father is President Vladimir Putin." "That is impossible. How can that be?" "Sir, people always say that President Putin is father of our country." Surprised but pleased, Putin tell the recruit, "That actually makes sense. But really, who's your mother then?" "Sir, my mother is Russia." "How so?" "Because people always say Russia is mother of all people, all ethnic, all nation." Laughing out loud, Putin's likened the new recruit with great hope and asked him friendly, "Spectacular private, what role model do you want to become?" "I want to be an orphan, sir." Number 18. I was in Russia, listening to a stand-up comedian making fun of Putin. The jokes weren't that good, but I liked the execution. Number 19. What do Putin, Batman, and Will Smith have in common? They all attacked a comedian. Number 20. How do Putin opponents commit suicide? 2 bullets to the back of the head. Slap share, like, and subscribe button, only if I make you smile. See ya!